one. Well, if you've been to New Jersey, northern New Jersey is where it's at. And my friend Nicole, she services that entire area. So, hey, Nicole, how are you today?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to chat
Oh,
with you.
of course. So, we are excited to talk about northern New Jersey today. I know you're going to tell us a little bit more about what counties and areas that is. But first, tell everyone who you are. And if you wouldn't mind, just tell everyone how you got into real estate and maybe something about your family.
Sure. I'm Nicole Romanik. I live in a lovely town, Fair Lawn, New Jersey, that is in Bergen County. We are right outside of New York City, which is where a lot of my business comes from. I'm a single mom to two teenage girls, easy for me to
Oh.
say. And I also have two adopted French bulldogs. They're maniacs.
Ooh.
Um, let's
Love
see.
that.
I got into real estate full time. I got my license in 2019, but I went in full time toward the end of 2020. I got laid off from my advertising marketing job that, I'd worked in New York City for like, I don't know, like 23, 24 years, got laid off during COVID, and I decided to kind of give this a full time go, and it's been great. So, yeah, that's it.
Wow. Wow. That actually is a perfect career to go from advertising and marketing to real estate. That is really cool. That's a good transition. And it seems
Yep.
like I've talked to a lot of people that, during that 2020 COVID time, like they had to switch over and they decided on real estate. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah. It definitely, I mean, I had gotten my license in 2019.
Mm.
My goal was to be, dual career, do a few transactions a year, save a little extra money for college, that type of thing. But then, the world turned upside down, and the next thing I know, I'm a full-time realtor. So, it's actually been really great schedule and flexibility wise for my daughters. Working in New York City, I would leave the house at 7:45 in the morning, and I'd get home at like 7:30 at night. So, it was at a time I had au pairs and I had babysitters, but it's really been nice through their high school years to be present for them. So I really am grateful for that aspect of this career.
Well, that actually sounds like a really stressful life. So you mentioned New York City. So in your area, there's a lot of people, I'm assuming, that are actually doing the same thing, like working
Oh
in New
yeah.
York City and living in your
Yep.
area. How long of a
hmm
commute is that?
So for me, it was a 6 minute walk to the train station, and then the train ride was about 50 minutes into New York.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay. Well,
And that's
coming from
actually
the,
not bad by our terms. Like people are like, "Oh, under an hour on the train. That's great."
oh my
And
goodness.
then
Well,
once you get into New York, you have, depending on where your office is in New York, you have a commute on top of that. So you may walk, you may take the subway, you may take the bus. So my last job, um, I was, my all-in commute was probably like an hour and 15 minutes. But yeah, now my commute is 6 minutes to the office, so I'll take it.
okay, that's amazing because coming from somewhere like where I am in Indianapolis, wow, that sounds like a lot of hard work. And I'm so glad you're close to your office now. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's
So,
really nice.
yeah. So, your area, what areas or what cities or counties make up northern New Jersey?
So I live in Bergen County. We are the north, like the north right section of New Jersey. We are on the, Hudson River border.
Mm.
That is where I grew up. That is where I do most of my business, but I also do business in Essex County and Passaic County. They're like neighboring counties, and sometimes I'll go to Morris County. It really kind of depends on who it is. I'm recently under contract with my cousin, and that's in Union County. And I wouldn't usually go there, but for family, you do a little extra. So, but yeah, I mean, primarily I work in Bergen County, and it's a really great place to live and work. Around the country, New Jersey gets a bad reputation, but if you ever spent any time here, whether you lived here or worked here, it's really a wonderful place to live.
As immediately when you said Jersey, sometimes I think of Jersey Shore, which is not even close to you. That's on the southern. part, right?
No, and honestly, a lot of the New Jersey Shore is really nice. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
very typical. Like if you think of the old MTV show, that was definitely something. There are certain towns in the Jersey Shore that are a little more of party towns and they get a reputation, but most of the Jersey Shore is like really family friendly and clean and beautiful, and it's a really good place to visit.
Yeah, I've been to New Jersey, and is it not called the Garden State? I mean, people don't realize that you guys have a lot going on there. Like it's not just, I don't know what people think about it, but
It's
I've
not
been and
just
I
the
love it.
Sopranos intro.
Yeah, yeah.
It is not just the Sopranos intro. New Jersey is a beautiful. It was the Garden State because for the longest time it was all farmland. I mean, it was farmland that
Hmm.
helped sustain the people in New York City and surrounding areas. We actually lead the country and potentially the world in like tomatoes, and that is not really my area. Like I'm like your like quintessential suburbs, like sidewalks and tree-lined streets and like happy people. We are not in the farmland. Unfortunately, our farmland gets bought up and it becomes like McMansions.
Yeah, and we're going to talk
Yeah.
about, construction and things like that. But first, tell us what's going on in the real estate market in your area.
Our market is still really, really, really strong for sellers. I mean, it still continues. It's not obviously as crazy as it was in 2020 or 2021, but in my county, we have a median price point of like 875.
Mm.
And then days on market is about 17. So we are still in the thick of like it goes on the market on a Thursday. We're calling for offers on Tuesday, and we're out of attorney review on Friday. So we're still seeing a lot of that. Um, if the house isn't priced right, if people are being greedy, it will not sell. The sellers are starting to learn a little bit of a harder lesson there, but for the most part, we still see things moving very, very quickly.
Well, and I think we're seeing that in a lot of areas of the country where sellers need to make sure the home is priced correctly and work with their agent to, since we are the experts coming up with that, because a lot of areas, Indianapolis, we have some pretty low days on market as well. So things are moving fast, especially since here, our price point is a lot lower. With that 875, median, is that tough for different populations? Like, for example, first-time home buyers, are they having to kind of go out maybe further in the suburbs?
Right. So it really depends. I mean, our surrounding counties are kind of around the same. We are not an inexpensive area to live. There are pockets of towns that are a little less expensive, but it really depends on what your priorities are. Whether it's commute, if you want to commute to New York City, I always recommend to people if they don't have to commute to New York City and they don't have the budget, like you can move a little bit further west. I always tell people like you're not necessarily going to decrease your budget because people will spend what they spend, but they'll get more house for their money.
Sure,
It's
of
not like
course.
all of a sudden they're going to spend $100,000 less. They're just going to get more
Right.
house for their money.
Which could be good, especially if they have a family, because
Right.
as we know, the age of first-time home buyers has actually went up. I believe they said last year it was
Significantly.
38. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
they may already have a family at that point. So yeah, something bigger, maybe further out could be more affordable. As
Absolutely. And
far
we're
as
definitely seeing, like,
yeah.
I think a concern for our market holistically is,
Hmm.
for first time home buyers that don't have any generational wealth. I see a lot
Hmm.
of people who are, borrowing money from parents or getting gifts from parents. People cash out 401k. Like they do a lot of different things to get into a house. I mean, again, this price point, to put 20% down, you're looking at 160 something thousand dollars. Like not a lot of people have that lying around. And then you'll have people, I mean, I lost a bidding war on a $1.2 million house last week. It went for 1.3 and they were paying cash. I'm like, who has this cash? Like, but you know what?
Yes.
People have it. And I do think, it is absolutely a struggle for first time home buyers.
Mhm.
Um, And also the rents are really expensive. So it's not like you can elect to rent and save money. Like you're still spending $2,500, $3,000 in rent, like in our area. So it's
Mhm.
really a tough market for buyers. I'm super grateful I bought when I did. I could not afford to buy here right now. I couldn't.
Yeah,
Bad.
yeah, and I think that's going to continue to be a problem throughout the country. Honestly, no matter where you live, different pay scales and things. And I think it's not going to be an easy solution, but it like, we say it is what it is.
Yeah, for
There's
sure.
there's lots of programs out there, so we could always talk about that another time. But let me ask you, since you are the garden state. Yes, not in your area. You don't have a lot of farming. However, I'm wondering if there's a lot of land area where they are building new construction neighborhoods because I feel like a lot of places in the country that's really needed. And in the Northeast, I don't know if they're doing that as much. Like, for example, here we just have so many new build communities.
Yeah, we do not have a lot of that. We really, really don't. Like, for instance, I can tell you that we do have something new, and it was a gigantic garden center, like farm type thing that recently sold. And they are building like 42 luxury townhouses. So, I mean, townhouses are easier to build. And you get more in there. The luxury price point will, be probably 950 to a million and change. And yeah, that's for a townhouse.
Yeah.
But you get more in there versus, building, 4,000 square foot homes versus, they build
Sure.
up on the townhouses instead of out with the houses. So
Okay.
we don't see a lot of new construction here. Our new construction is usually a full gut reno on like an existing foundation. So I do a lot of work with that. We find an old home that is distressed, so to speak. Builders will come in and, sometimes they knock it down completely, or like we have to keep one wall up in order to not do a variance or whatever. So a lot of times you'll just see like some like laid out house with like one random wall and you're like, oh, there it is. Some
Oh my
people just,
God.
yeah, they add a level. So I work with a lot of builders in that capacity. I'll get a house off market. I'll work with the seller, sell it to my buyer, and then they will go in and completely renovate it and then, build up. So, for instance, I mean, I've got a full knockdown in a town, couple towns over from me, that, we have under contract for 900,000, but when they knock it down and build something, it's going to be over 2 million. So it's kind of crazy here. It's kind of crazy here.
It definitely sounds like it. Well, and I want to ask you a question. So, in your area, what type of industry is in your area, or what type of businesses are people moving to your area to work at? The other way, not going to New York City, but what things in
Mhm.
your area are people coming to, go work at?
We have a lot of pharmaceutical companies in the area.
Mm.
So people will commute to the pharmaceutical companies. There's not a, there's definitely some banking. There's a large bank in our area. It's more of a regional bank, but it is based right here. So we see a lot of that. But we do have a lot of people that commute to New York. But we do have, pharmaceutical companies. Verizon has a home base here, which is a really large campus. It's about like 30, 40 minutes from me. But, I know a few people in town who commute there. And she's a lot of different corporations. So we have a lot of that here where people, some companies that started in New York and found it to be a little less expensive to be in New Jersey.
Sure. Well,
Yep.
then that brings up the question, if people are moving to your area for those certain industries, pharmaceuticals and banking and things like that, are there opportunities in your area for investors, or do you feel like the prices have went up too much where you don't see as many investors? Like, did you see a lot during COVID versus now, for example?
When you say investors, are you thinking like for flipper type investors or people looking to buy multifamily homes or?
Well, either one, honestly, it could be people that are looking to buy homes to turn them into Airbnbs or yes, flipping or or it could even be someone whose family lives there and they want to buy a second home for themselves, just investing in another property, maybe.
Right. So because it's a pretty expensive place to live, we I don't see a lot of Airbnb in our area. Maybe like down the shore, talking about like an hour-ish south. And then some people closer to New York, and that's like Hudson County, and that can be like Hoboken and Jersey City and things like that. Because it's so close to New York, it's very quickly in and out, 15, 20 minutes. So we're not like a big Airbnb destination. We do have a lot of local builders who want to do flips. But if you were to ask me, Nicole, I have money to spend and I want to do an investment property in New Jersey, I wouldn't really recommend that. Just because you're out of the era, we're very tenant friendly state in New Jersey. So if something goes awry as a landlord, like we're really, really protective of the tenants. So I
Okay.
don't tell people from out of the area to necessarily buy here. But in the area, we have a lot of people buying things. But outside of the area, I would recommend something probably a little more cost effective and a little more landlord friendly.
Yeah, I wondered that. Well, what about, say someone lives in New York City and
Mhm.
say they decided they want to leave the city life, they want to start a family. Do you see a lot of people coming from the city to your area to move, to move their lives there completely?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, we see a lot of that for sure. I do a lot of FaceTime appointments with people. We're a commutable destination to New York, but we also have like ridiculously good schools. New
Mhm.
Jersey as a state has like the top school systems in the country, and then our area has the top school systems in the state. So you see a lot of parents like relocating from the city. But even right now, I'm working with clients from Seattle, Savannah, and the northern part of Connecticut, all moving here for the schools. All moving here
Wow.
for the schools. I couldn't
Wow.
believe someone from Savannah called me. I was like, why would you want to leave Savannah? Right. But, they have a child with special needs, as I do as well. So they are moving to my town because they know this town in particular services, children with special needs at a very high level. So, it's about your priorities. I mean, whatever works for your family, right?
Exactly.
I
People
mean,
are willing to move anywhere for a good education, and I've seen that. I had a friend that moved from Indiana to St. Augustine, Florida, because her child had a special developmental disorder. Anyway, people will do
right.
anything for their family. So you've seen a lot of that. Well,
Yes, for sure.
what about the final kind of population I'm going to talk about is people who are downsizing. Obviously, in the
Mhm.
United States, that's a large group of people. Are you seeing a lot of that in your area? And are they able to find those ranch homes, maybe where the master's on the main floor, for example?
Yeah, I mean, that's tough to be honest. It has been tough. I just worked with a couple that they were, leaving their house and we were able to find them a house. It just worked out so perfectly. No basement, just, bedroom and thankfully handicapped bath on the main level and then three bedrooms upstairs. Ranch homes are becoming less and less because again the investors are buying the ranches, adding a level and making a giant house.
Right.
I encourage investors whenever they're buying a house to leave a bedroom and a bathroom on the main level because we are seeing a lot of that multi-generational living. With people with aging parents, they need that room. Sometimes in our area too, they have a nanny or childcare, that needs to be there. So I'm encouraging of people to leave a bedroom on the main level, but ranch homes are hard to find. But also, our area is expensive. Our taxes are really expensive. I mean, you can expect to at least pay $1,000 a month in taxes in our towns. So a lot of people sell their house and they move somewhere else where the taxes are a little bit a little less expensive.
Yeah, well, I can understand that. I mean, talking about the people downsizing, I think that's going to be another, not problem, but maybe a challenge for a lot of people in the United States, because there are a lot of areas where they don't have the homes with the master on the main level, and I think we're going to need to find a solution for that. So here's my last question. If someone was interested in moving to your area, say they're moving from the city, they want to come to where the best schools are, or they just want to get a second home or any of these things, what would you tell them? What advice would you give them, you know, to help find the home that they want in that area, in your area?
Be patient. You're
Mm.
going to have to be patient. Our market is really, really tough on buyers. But you're just going to have to be patient. You will get something eventually. And I always am a firm believer that the right house comes for the right people, and it always works out well in the end. But we're still in a really challenging market for buyers. And, that's just kind of got to breathe, breathe and work
Well, if
through
you,
it.
yeah, well, if you live in Bergen County, for example, and you want to sell, we need houses. She needs houses to sell.
For
So come
sure.
on.
I mean, and we have that conversation a lot, and it's challenging. Some people aren't ready to leave yet. Again, when your kids are in the schools, you're not going anywhere. So once your kids are out of school, there's potential there. But we're just waiting for the influx.
Yeah, well, if you're interested in selling in Nicole's area, she knows lots of agents in Florida and Arizona
I
that
know
she can
agents
connect you
everywhere
with.
thanks to our wonderful community, and you're my girl in Indy, so I love it.
Exactly. I love it. Thank you so much. You are so knowledgeable and you are definitely the expert in Northern New Jersey. And, if you're
You sweet.
watching
I
this
love it.
video and want me to connect you with Nicole, please feel free to reach out. She is so helpful and just provides the best service. And I'm lucky that you're my friend. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
I love it. I'm so happy. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Awesome. I hope you have a great day.
All right, you too. I'll talk to you later.
Bye bye.